You want to succeed. You've mapped out the steps. You've put in the effort. You can almost see it, right there in front of you. And yet, you pause. You delay. You pull back. You tell yourself the timing isn't right. You convince yourself to wait. But deep down, you know. This isn't about the timing. This is fear, wearing a disguise. Fear dressed as logic. Fear pretending to be caution. Fear acting like responsibility. But it's fear nonetheless, and fear, when left unchecked, becomes sabotage. Self-sabotage isn't always obvious. It's subtle, silent, sneaky. It works from the shadows. It mimics your voice. It sounds like reason. It sounds like safety. But its mission is clear. Keep you exactly where you are. Because to your subconscious mind, familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar success. Let's rewind. Where does this come from? Picture your mind like a thermostat, set to a certain emotional temperature. A level of confidence, happiness, risk. Anything above that range triggers discomfort. So your system pulls you back down. Success feels too good. You sabotage. Momentum builds too fast. You stall. Someone starts recognizing your value. You downplay it. Not because you don't want more, but because your internal thermostat says, this isn't safe. This isn't you. That thermostat setting, it was programmed years ago by childhood messages, by past experiences, by failures you never processed, by voices that told you were too much or not enough. And you believed them. So now, every time you step outside that comfort zone, your subconscious fires alarms. It whispers, slow down. This could end badly. Better not try. And that's when sabotage begins. It shows up as binge watching when you meant to write. It shows up as rewriting an email for the 8th time. As cleaning the kitchen instead of calling that client. As convincing yourself you're not ready, even when you are. It's not laziness, it's self-preservation, on autopilot. Here's the paradox. The closer you get to success, the louder the sabotage becomes. Not because you're failing, but because you're growing. Your comfort zone is panicking and trying to pull you back to baseline. You ever wonder why just before something big you get sick? Or suddenly anxious? Or pick a fight with someone close to you? That's the system resisting growth, trying to protect your identity, even if that identity is outdated. And here's something most people don't realize. You can become addicted to the struggle. If pain is what you've known, if chaos is what you're used to, if hustling without reward is your normal, then peace and success will feel foreign, uncomfortable, almost wrong. So your nervous system tries to recreate the familiar, the stress, the panic, the self-sabotage. Because to the unconscious mind, consistency matters more than happiness. This is deep wiring, evolutionary. In the wild, the unknown often meant death, so your brain evolved to favor predictability. And anything that disrupts that predictability is seen as a potential threat. Even if it's something good. Even if it's the very thing you've always wanted. So what do we do? How do we break free? It starts with recognizing that sabotage isn't a personal failure. It's a protective instinct. Misapplied. Your job is to notice the pattern without judgment, to watch it, track it, understand it. Ask yourself, when do I start pulling back? What usually triggers my delay? What emotions surface when I'm close to succeeding? Write these answers down. Get familiar with the script. Because once you see it, you can change it. You see, once you catch the pattern, you disarm it. You bring it out of the shadows, into awareness. And awareness is the first step to freedom. But it can't stop there. You have to replace the pattern with intention, with new identity, with proof. Because self-sabotage doesn't just vanish, it transforms. When you show your brain, day after day, that growth is not death, that risk is not destruction, that success is survivable. You rewire what safe looks like. Let's get personal for a second. What were you told as a child about success? Were you praised only when perfect? Did your wins get ignored, but your mistakes magnified? Were you made to feel guilty for outshining others? That matters, because your current behavior is often a child's emotional logic in an adult body. If you learned early that being visible brought judgment, you might avoid success now. If you learned that love was conditional, you might sabotage anything that brings closeness or celebration. If your parents fought about money, you might unconsciously block abundance. Because more success equals more conflict equals less safety. These are emotional blueprints, old survival maps. But the terrain has changed, and those maps don't serve you anymore. So let's create new ones. Start with tiny, deliberate wins. Not big dramatic actions that often just trigger panic. You want gentle rewiring. Wins that stretch you, but don't snap your nervous system. If you're building a business, send one pitch. If you're starting therapy, book one consultation. If you're scared to post your work, share one story with one person. Then breathe. Notice the fear didn't kill you, and do it again tomorrow. This repetition rewrites identity. You stop being the person who can't handle it, and become the person who does hard things calmly. Success becomes familiar, not frightening, and the sabotage fades. But there's another layer. We must talk about worthiness. You can't outwork a belief that says, I don't deserve this. So many people try to achieve their way into self-worth, to earn love by being productive. But the inner critic doesn't care how much you achieve. It moves the goalpost every time. That's why self-sabotage happens. Right after success, not before. Because deep down, you don't feel safe receiving it. You get the raise, then pick a fight at home. You finish the project, then collapse for days. You hit a milestone, and immediately downplay it. Not because you're ungrateful, because your nervous system says, this level of joy is unfamiliar. I don't know how to hold this. So what do? You practice receiving. You sit with compliments. You allow joy to land in your body. You resist the urge to immediately give it away, or justify it, or explain it. You breathe in the win. No matter how small, let it register. Let it count. Because worthiness isn't a reward. It's a practice, a muscle. And if you don't build it, success will feel too heavy to hold. Let's go even deeper now. Because some sabotage comes not from fear of failure, but fear of identity loss. Who are you without the struggle? If you've always been the underdog, what happens when you win? If your self-worth was built on being the helper, how do you handle being the one helped? If your relationships revolve around dysfunction, what happens when you get healthy? Sometimes we sabotage success to protect our identity, not because we don't want more, but because we don't know who we'd be with it. And here's the scary truth. Growth requires grief. You have to mourn the version of you that could only survive. The one who coped. The one who dimmed herself to fit in. The one who made herself small to be safe. You thank her, but you don't stay her. You step forward, into expansion, into power, into discomfort, and into authenticity. Because sabotage cannot survive where self-trust is being built. And trust comes from proof, from showing up, from keeping promises to yourself, from becoming your own protector. Let's talk about that voice in your head. You know the one that tells you, you're not ready, you're not good enough, you're just pretending. That voice has many names: inner critic, imposter syndrome, the judge, but no matter what you call it, its goal is control. It believes that if it can shame you into submission, you'll avoid embarrassment, you'll avoid risk, you'll stay safe. But shame is not safety. Shame is a cage. So what do you do when that voice gets loud? You don't fight it. You don't shout over it. You meet it with compassion. Not indulgence, not agreement, but understanding. Because that voice is coming from a younger version of you. The version that was once hurt, once dismissed, once rejected. And now, every time you try to grow, that younger you panics. They say, don't stand out again. It hurt last time. Don't try again. You'll just fail again. And you must reply, I hear you. But we're not in danger anymore. You reparent that part of yourself. You remind them that you are the adult now, and this time, you can handle what comes. This is emotional rewiring, not logic, not hustle, not fake positivity, but nervous system level healing. Because your body remembers what your mind forgets, and the body must feel safe before the mind can perform well. So slow down, ground yourself, breathe deeply, anchor into the present. This moment is not your past. This version of you is stronger than the last. Let's now explore the bridge between belief and behavior. You cannot outperform your identity, and you will always sabotage what contradicts it. If deep down you believe you are unworthy, no achievement will ever feel real. You'll dismiss praise. You'll question compliments. You'll look at success and feel like a fraud. So your first job is not more output. It's more alignment. Align your self-image with your aspirations, not through wishful thinking, but through consistent evidence. You're not faking it till you make it. You're becoming it through daily micro-proof. You keep your promises to yourself. You show up even when you doubt. You take small risks. You hold your boundaries. You celebrate your wins. These things add up. They shift how you see yourself. And when that inner view changes, your behavior follows. That's why affirmations alone don't work. You can't just say, "I'm confident." If your body is in fight or flight, you must act in ways that prove to your nervous system you are safe to expand. Let's also talk about emotional loyalty. Sometimes we sabotage not because of fear, but because of guilt. We feel like we're betraying our roots, our family, our friends, our identity. Who am I to do well when others are struggling? Who am I to be happy when people I love are stuck? This guilt can be quiet, but it runs deep. So you hold back. You hide your wins, you downplay your joy. Not because you don't want to rise, but because you're afraid of leaving others behind. But let me tell you this. You don't help the world by shrinking. You don't inspire others by suppressing your light. The most powerful permission slip you can give others is your own expansion. So succeed and show them what's possible. Grow. And show them they can grow too. You're not betraying anyone by being your best self. You're honoring them by breaking the patterns they couldn't. So what happens once you've achieved something? Once the opportunity comes through, the goal is met, the vision starts becoming real? Oddly, that's when the sabotage gets sneaky again. Because holding success is often harder than chasing it. It's not about doing more. It's about learning to receive, to stay calm in unfamiliar joy, to stop scanning for what could go wrong, to sit in the center of enough and let it feel normal. That's where many people fall apart. They get the thing and immediately start to ruin it. They overcompensate, they self-isolate, they question every decision, they lose sleep, they pick fights, they run away from the very thing they once prayed for. Because success without a stable identity beneath it feels unsafe. So here's the mindset shift. You're not just building skills, you're building capacity. Capacity to handle joy, capacity to hold money, to accept love, to stay regulated during wins, to remain grounded in progress. And that means nervous system work, body work, emotional literacy. It means letting go of the drama cycles you once lived inside. It means normalizing peace. And that, ironically, can feel boring. But boring isn't bad. Boring is stable. And from stability, you can finally create something sustainable. Here's a truth most people won't say. It's not enough to succeed. You must also believe that you belong there. Because if you don't, you'll find ways to leave, to mess it up, to sabotage it, so the pain matches your expectations again. That's why internal work matters. That's why mindset matters. That's why nervous system safety isn't optional. It's essential. So let's recap what you've learned. Self-sabotage is not failure. It's fear. Trying to protect your identity, your patterns, your predictability. It lives in the body, in the nervous system, in the stories you never questioned. But it can be disarmed. Not with force, but with awareness, gentleness, and small daily courage. You learned that your comfort zone is not your friend, it's your trap. You learned that self-worth is not a prize at the finish line. It's the fuel you need to even start the race. You learned that your inner critic isn't your enemy. It's your scared younger self, asking for reassurance. And you learned that identity is the thermostat. You don't just change behavior. You raise the setting. You build a new emotional normal. And now, maybe for the first time, you're ready. Not just to chase success, but to hold it, to own it, to stop running from your own brilliance. So the next time you feel yourself pulling back, notice it, pause, and say, "Ah, there it is. The fear, the pattern, the script." And then choose differently. Take the step anyway, speak anyway, show up anyway. Because your life cannot grow faster than your ability to receive it. So stretch that ability. Breathe into it. Let joy feel safe. Let power feel normal. Let success feel deserved. Because it is. You didn't get lucky. You didn't cheat the system. You didn't fool anyone. You earned this. So let yourself win. Let yourself rest. Let yourself rise. And if the old voices come back, whispering fear, just smile and say, "Thanks for the warning. But I'm building something bigger now." And you are. You are building a life that no longer requires sabotage to feel familiar. You're building a self that no longer fears success. This time, you're going to let it land. No more shrinking, no more apologizing, no more playing small. Just truth, just power, just freedom. So go ahead. Let yourself win.